back to Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. We're time for part 2 of wide receivers here, our second to last rankings episode here before we jump into August. I hope you guys are as ready as we are to cover the last, I believe, 24 wide receivers we're going to cover here in this episode.
I hope you're more ready than we are, actually.
Yeah.
I'm just like, here we go. Like Kel at the beginning of all that. Here it goes.
And those... Now, Blake, I know you don't get that reference.
Yeah.
There was a point in time on Nickelodeon
where they used to have, skits shows.
Keenan and Kel and...
all that.
Yeah, there was a thing. If you've heard of those, good.
Congratulations. He had heard of Hey Arnold, so I have to give him props for that one.
I do have to give him props for that one.
So yes, we are Beer Fueled Fantasy Football, show where we're going to sit around and go ahead and talk over some rankings, review a beer for you guys if you're joining in for the first time. If you're coming back for year 2, welcome. Hope you guys catch all the episodes here from here on out.
If you're here for the first time, also welcome.
That's what I was implying with the first statement, but okay, I guess.
Back for the very
I
first
just wanted
time.
to say it. I wanted to welcome people into my home.
Welcome.
Technically,
yes.
Yes.
If you're
watching
watching on YouTube,
this is Hopper's home.
Yeah.
Judge how you will.
From the 2 walls you can see in the spare bedroom.
Isn't even the spare bedroom?
Well, it is a bedroom that is used as a studio, and then there's a spare bedroom / office, and
Giving people a verbal tour here.
it's an extra bedroom.
All right, you can find us on Twitter at BeerFieldFF. If you want to hit us up with any questions here heading into your drafts, please hit us up there. We'll try to answer all your questions. In addition, if you want to know how our Scott Fishbowl went, any of our other listener leagues
I'll
are
let
going,
you know when it finishes.
What round are you in now?
19?
Oh, you're getting there.
Getting there. We're almost
there.
We're at the slowest division by, I think, 20 picks.
So everyone else is almost done except for you.
Yep.
Also, listener redraft league. You can tweet me. I'll keep it shorter than I did on Monday's episode. But Tyreek Hill jersey up for grabs. Signed, obviously, not just a random Tyreek Hill jersey. It is a signed Tyreek Hill jersey. Charitable donations, BFF swag. I think top 3 positions get prizes in this. Superflex 12-team redraft league. To qualify, you need to DM at HotBFF a screenshot of one of the following: a review on iTunes, a subscription on YouTube, or a donation to Fantasy Cares at fantasycares.net. It can be any amount. Just be sure to send that over to me at HotBFF on Twitter. That will enter you into the drawing. We'll draw here in a week or 2.
Any amount? That's a shocker.
Yikes.
For those of you who aren't watching on YouTube, I made a shocker sign. For those of you who don't know what a shocker sign is,
Urban Dictionary. We're not describing it here.
Read
Not
up
at
on
work.
some shit.
Absolutely not at work.
We here at Beerfield. Never mind. I guess we
We're
do.
fine.
I guess we do support that kind of.
You support shocking things?
Just seemed like the best option at that
There's
point.
also one thing we haven't done. So I am Dan Theory at Theory BFF. To the right of me is Christopher Hopper.
At Hot BFF with 2 Ps.
And sitting across me, forgetting to do his job, is Mom.
I was going to do it right before the drop, but okay.
I had to do something to get us away from Shocker Talk.
That sounds like a beer name. Shocker Top.
Coming soon for Beer Fueled Fantasy Football.
Shocker Talk. Catch that episode on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever podcasts are found.
All right, and I am at Nick Sparts. No, I did not write the notebook. On today's episode, we've got Tsunami Pale Ale by Toppling Goliath. I'm sure they love being associated with this episode right now.
They
Who
might.
the fuck are these guys?
Brewers are usually pretty cool. Maybe they do.
This is their second time on the show. First time being, I believe, episode 10, when we were in a completely different location than we are now. By that, I mean entirely floor different.
We were still in my
We're
home, but we were in
downstairs.
the dining room because this hadn't been made into a studio-ish place yet.
All right, they are based out of Decorah, Iowa, one of the few things I like out of Iowa, so congratulations for making that
Good
short
job.
list.
Yep.
It is a 5% pale ale with orange notes. We'll give you a full review once we get through wide receiver 35.
Rankings.
All right.
Coming soon is a beer-fueled
Disco.
disco 80s party. Beer-fueled 80s party.
I'd be down. Tier 10, number
10.
23, Brandon Cooks, who just signed a 5-year extension to stay with the Rams. What do we like and what do we don't like about him this year to have him sneak in as a back-end wide receiver too?
I don't necessarily like the way that he fits Goff's game. I've talked about this. Goff was an all right deep passer, but he didn't really throw deep a whole lot last year. Mostly underneath stuff, but he also didn't have a speedster that is what Cooks is. I'm faded on Cooks because I already said I don't like boom bust. And, last year he kind of got away from that, but completely different offense. He's in a different offense again, so it's what you expect. He's a speedster. Kupp's more the reliable option here, so I think Cooks will be used to stretch the field some. Should still be targeted, though. Watkins did only have 8.5 yards per target last year in this role, so that's definitely going to have to change. I think that Robert Woods was more the field stretcher last year, which should not be a thing.
I mean, you're not that down on him. You've got him at 25.
No, I'm not
That's
down on
fair.
Cooks. I'm not down on Cooks at all. I don't think that this is an offense that passes a whole lot, so you're kind of going to be tempered as to where the targets go. Cooks is my highest rated wide receiver in this offense.
Yeah, I think he's that case for all three of us.
Yeah,
That's the big thing is can Goff and this offense become more, and like it was balanced last year, but it was obviously lean more run heavy. They're still going to go through Todd Gurley, but they're going to probably let Goff do a little bit more. You get a guy like Cooks who's a better down the field stretcher, just as a pure player than Watkins is, who's more of that intermediate role
as opposed to Hugh St. Brown, who's a nowhere stretcher.
Yes, but Cooks is still boom bust. He had 5 wide receiver 1 finishes last year, 3 wide receiver 2s, and 6 4 or worse. So you're still going to get those boom bust weeks.
Yep, I do expect him to lead the team in targets, so that should help insulate him slightly. But it's not going to be – I don't love him, but he's kind of starting to reach the point where it's like, hey, I'll take the home run swing that maybe –
You love him, like him?
Yeah.
I want to love him, but I don't yet.
I'm fine with
I'm trying to fall in love with him.
I'm fine with taking him as a third wide receiver.
Yeah, if you start with a decent wide
Third or
receiver heavy,
flex for sure, yeah.
Maybe a couple quarterbacks and tight ends go early and you can grab him as your third wide receiver.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What's his ADP?
He is going as the 23rd wide receiver off the board at 406 at 504.
That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
That's okay. But
Good to see we're okay with that.
the next, I don't know if he's the next guy in the rankings, but the next guy I have on my list, I like a lot more.
Next guy in the rankings is Jarvis Landry coming in at 24 overall.
Okay, I still like him more than Cooks, but I don't
not per your rankings.
Not the guy I was thinking about. No, depends.
I trust Landry more, I think, than Cooks.
It depends on which side of the bet I want to wake up on. If I'm looking at overall season performance, I definitely like Cooks more. If I'm looking at who can I trust more week in and week out, then I like Landry, and that's going to be a pure team need thing.
Exactly.
It's going to be based on how you drafted up to this point where those guys are available in the early fifth of which one do you take. Landry's going to be more reliable, but he's not going to get the volume he got in Miami. Tyrod Taylor favors his tight ends. You've got a ton of receiving options there. He's also a running quarterback.
So with passing volume will be down.
With 2 running backs and a solid defense. So like
3 running backs.
3 running backs. So yes, passing volume will be down. Volume is going to be down for Landry. And I don't expect him to repeat the 8 touchdown performance last year either, because before that I think he'd had like 4.
Between 4 and 6 is where.
Yeah, so I think I got him at 5 this year. But I like Landry. He's just not going to be the same type of high volume PPR guy that he's been. He'll still be a solid safe play. Solid wide receiver too. And again, he's a guy I like more as a week in, week out if I need those reliable points versus the upset of Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, he could lead this team in targets with like 110 or something. Like it won't be a lot because there's so many mouths to feed there. You got to bring in David Njoku, who we all expect to take a bigger leap this year. They just paid Duke Johnson; he's going to have the role. Josh Gordon is a thing still.
He'll get some volume. I got Landry at 115 targets.
Yeah, I got him at 120. So it's definitely. I mean, he's last couple of years been at what, like 140 or 150.
Yeah, 140 or 150.
It's been the only option.
So that it's going to be a pretty massive downtick for him. I would lower expectations from what you've seen previous years. Full point PPR obviously slightly prefer him to this, but in half, this is
the Browns,
about where I like him.
Well, Hugh Jackson's been like traditionally a lower half. A passing offense to combine with Tyrod, who isn't a high efficient or just isn't a high.
Well, part of that's been the offense has been so off schedule,
and you're also going to have Todd Haley there, who will target whoever his best guy is. You look at what Antonio Brown did. So target share wise, I gave Landry slightly less than what Brown was getting, but not by much. It's just overall pass volume. I don't expect to be as high in this offense.
Agreed. Tier 11, number 25. Sammy Watkins, the man himself.
Sammy Watkins.
Causing fights all over the internet.
He is.
And we're kind of split in the middle here.
Yeah. I don't hate Sammy Watkins. I don't love Sammy Watkins. I know that I don't love Sammy Watkins here. And it's just because you look at what he's done over the last few years, it's not there. Could it pay off for you? Absolutely, it could.
You have him a rank higher than this. You have him at 24.
Yeah.
So you said you didn't like him here.
I mean, did I slide him up that high?
He's your 24 than the rankings that I grabbed.
Are we all the same on?
I didn't.
We all have to be.
I have 29.
Welcome to our production meeting where we talk about our rankings and why we have players ranked.
I definitely don't have him.
So I'm not the. I like Watkins. Like I keep talking to myself to liking Watkins more. I like his fit more with Mahomes.
How did I do with my rankings? Yeah, I don't know. I statted him out lower than that, and then I did my rankings at like 12:45 in the morning on a Thursday. So. Yeah,
makes sense.
That's the thing. I'm with you. I'm talking myself into liking Watkins more. I'm still iffy on the security of it, though.
Yeah, he's going wide receiver 27, start of the 6th round.
I'm fine with that because he has a lot of upside. Like if you believe in this offense, if you believe in this passing offense, Watkins is going to be a big part of that. They just paid him a shit ton of money. He's going to be. I still think he's a better fit with Mahomes than Hill is. But he's going to fit that mold where he can create enough separation where Mahomes is going to just throw him open if he gets opportunity on those third downs and potential goal line because he's a great red zone guy.
So I do agree with all that. I like Sammy Watkins. He's my wide receiver 29, so I've got him as a mid wide receiver 3. I like the next 3 guys more, though. So Randall Cobb, wide receiver 26.
There's kind of a hot take for our Twitterverse.
He's my 22. And Randall Cobb was the guy I was talking about a couple of players ago that I like probably most in this tier of players. He's a natural lock for 100-plus targets. He puts up wide receiver 2 numbers whenever he gets this. Over 3 seasons of over 100 targets. He's had 100. Over 3 seasons where he's had over 100 targets, his average has been 113 targets, 83 receptions, that 1,023 yards and 8 touchdowns. So 2014 slightly inflates that, but when you look at the peripherals on Randall Cobb, 70% catch rate, decent in the red zone, decent contested catch, decent separation, you give him more volume at that, and when he's shown he can handle it, he's a lock to be a wide receiver 2, and you can get him in wide receiver 3 range.
What is his ADP right now?
8th round?
Yeah.
Jesus, come on, guys.
All day.
Wide receiver 35, 803.
Should we not talk about him that much more so we can keep his ADP there?
I kind of want to keep him my dirty little secret. And I say dirty little secret because he's a Backers player.
Which is like weird because
he is a target guy for me.
Most people should know about him at this point and what he could do in this offense
and
now.
Who else are you throwing to? Jimmy. I mean, you can throw to Jimmy Graham. It's a good enough throwing offense to support 3. And Geronimo Allison? EQ, I don't stretch, so I'm going to tear a hammy in week 3. St. Brown.
Jamon Moore, I need to work on my game still.
Jamon, I am a very raw but talented prospect. Moore.
Yeah, there's some guys there, and Jimmy Graham's not getting 130 targets or anything. Like, that's not going to happen.
No.
Cobb's going to be the number 2 guy in terms of volume. He's going to get plenty of touchdown opportunities. I projected him pretty safe, and he came in as my 28, so he could easily exceed that.
Yeah, he's my 22, and I'm comfortable with him there. I want Randall Cobb as my 2, and that's kind of worked out for me. I can get him as a flex.
You can go running back heavy and still get him as your 3rd or flex.
You can go running back, wide receiver, tight end, quarterback, and still get Randall Cobb as your wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
If you picked early in the 8th, you could be your 3 still.
Yes.
It's insane.
It's nuts. He's way too low.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So enough preaching to the choir on that one.
And it's the Packers, so we all feel gross about it.
Let's continue preaching to the choir. Pierre Garçon. I'm kind of falling in love with Pierre Garçon all over again. We did this last year.
And then he got hurt. Otherwise, it would have been perfect.
He also didn't score a touchdown last year.
Did not get to play Jimmy Garoppolo, but he saw 8.3 targets a game last year, which may actually stay pretty level. Jimmy Garoppolo, 9.7 yards per attempt last year, or that was distance traveled per attempt, rather. Pierre Garçon, 9.8 yards per target. That's like a perfect fit.
So, and this is one where Dan was the lowest, so this by quite a bit. So this was definitely a projections versus gut feeling difference here. So what is your gut feeling and why are you a little lower on him?
He hasn't built up the chemistry with Garoppolo. We like what he can do with him with his fit, but we got to see what Garoppolo was able to do with guys like Kittle and Goodwin, even guys like Trent Taylor. I like Garcon. I think I still have him as my highest wide receiver for this offense.
Yeah, he's your
I'm not
30.
that
He's your
far
32. I've got him at 25, and Hopper's got him at 23.
I'm not that far off from where we have him slated. So a lot of it for me is just can he stay healthy? Obviously he hasn't.
That's my only concern.
Yeah, and just if they're going to favor more for guys like Dante Pettis, I don't expect that early on. But if Garcon can develop that chemistry early on, he'll keep moving up. He's one of those great, safe PPR options because he plays from the slot and he's able to get the targets to support a great wide receiver 3. Where are you taking him?
His game and Jimmy Garoppolo's game mesh so well just based on the numbers that it's hard for me to turn a shoulder to that. And yes, you mentioned the chemistry with Goodwin. I still like Goodwin. I love Kittle. I've loved Kittle since draft season last year.
But I think a lot of that was he had no other options. He had to give him the ball.
Yeah,
he did.
And this is a whole new offense. You bring in McKinnon. I'm sorry, not a whole new offense, just new pieces to be added on. McKinnon, gonna get a healthy Garcon. Can Garoppolo support all these guys?
Yeah, adding in Pettis, Garcon healthy, bring in McKinnon. This is going to be a more dynamic offense than they had to end the year last year with all the injuries and all the other issues.
It will be, and touchdowns are going to be a concern. That's a concern with Garoppolo. That's a concern with Garcon.
And that's the only reason he was not a wide receiver 2 for me is because of touchdowns.
It is. He's a high-end 3, and it's because of touchdowns. But volume, the way that he fits Garoppolo's game, you mentioned the chemistry thing. That's what training camp and preseason's for.
Yep.
I think it'll be fine.
And if you're in full point PPR, love him.
What's his ADP? I think that's a big thing too.
704.
So he's going before Cobb.
He is going before Cobb,
I'd rather have Cobb than Garcon,
but you can grab both.
especially given
You can probably
ADP.
grab both.
Or
You
Kano Los Dos.
You can probably grab both. And if I've got those two as my 2 and 3 with,
God,
yeah,
that's like 3 flex, maybe even flex, depending on what your leagues.
Yeah.
Or what your roster sizes
it's
are.
pretty.
What your starting lineups are.
All right, a guy who just missed tier 11, so he's in a tier by himself. Also very similar type player, Jamison Crowder at 28.
My man crush.
Also, very similar type player. Also, my man crush, Alex Smith. Crowder can play Slaughter outside, so depending on what narrative you want to paint, he separates, and Alex Smith throws to guys that are open. And
That's why you like Tyreek Hill so much last year.
Why you like Tyreek Hill so much last year. Everybody's saying Doxson. Doxson doesn't separate. And Alex Smith is not the type that forces throws, and he's not going to throw it up and trust somebody to go up and get it. He wants to throw to people that are open, and Jamison Crowder gets open.
We need that Doxson drop for this.
Yeah.
Doxson.
Yeah, and we don't hate Doxson. We've got him ranked pretty similarly as kind of a wide receiver 5 breakout candidate type, but
Sleeper.
Crowder
Play, yeah.
far and away like him more.
Yep.
And it's, like I said, it's just the separation. That's what Alex Smith will throw to. He's a very talented after the catch guy. The Redskins are going to have to throw a decent amount because the defense sucks.
And he had a bad start to the season last year, which I think soured a lot of people on him.
He finished as a wide receiver. I'm sorry, he was a wide receiver too, like a mid 2
for the last half of the
week
season.
11 on last year.
So,
He finally got healthy, and
but his 16 was
cobwebs.
his 16 was awesome, and the back half of his 17 was great too. So the majority of his work has been good. I would trust it. Smith is a competent quarterback. The offense should be better this year with a healthy offensive line coming into the season. I like Crowder as a high end wide receiver 3.
Well,
Breaking news.
What's the breaking news?
The Anaheim Ducks are bringing back the Mighty Ducks logo
Oh,
as an alternate jersey.
that's worth
Quack.
That's
quack, 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 quack.
Go
Ducks!
But really, in the real NHL world, fuck the Ducks. They're dirty as hell.
Oh, that's different. I'm talking Disney magic
But
here.
Disney magic,
We're talking about
absolutely.
D1 here.
Absolutely.
Mighty Ducks, the original. Mr. Quacksworth.
A little hockey interjection into your football life.
It was
Yeah.
filmed in a
By the way, if you don't like hockey, it's great once the Super Bowl's done to just watch that through the playoffs. It's
great whenever.
It's great always.
Sorry, I'm
Unless you're
talking
a
about
Wild
my
fan
personal
and then
style.
you get sad.
Well, that's because they always go on a run light path of the year and just desperately try to make the
They eat all-
playoffs.
They eat all that chili.
All right, tier 13, Michael Crabtree at 29.
Dan, go
I
ahead.
feel this is a little too low for him.
You're the highest on him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I feel like this should be
Hopper and I
lower.
did not stat him as well as you.
So as I put down in the notes, a Crabtree could see what Steve Smith was able to get when he was with them as a wide receiver. When Smith saw 134 targets in his first year with the Ravens, Bolden saw 109 his first year. on average with the Ravens. I expect Crabtree to be in that around those ranges, and I expect him to get this level of offense. A lot better receiving core around him. The offensive line should be better. The running game should be better to get more balance, and his defense is still very good. Flacco is still the wild card with this but he tends to favor his wide receiver one.
Ready to eviscerate him?
So I gave Michael Crabtree 122 targets. The problem is that Michael Crabtree,
It's old.
his production premium was way down. His separation and other metrics were way down.
With the bad Derek Carr.
Yeah, bad Derek Carr. I mean Joe Flacco, not great.
Oh,
So-
Joe Flacco's fucking garbage. I trust me.
Joe
I know.
Flacco, not great. So, I mean, slight bump up, actually, as far as his catch rate and everything goes. But even giving him 122 targets, he's still only statted out as my wide receiver 33.
Yeah, he's basically been just touchdown centric and needing a ton of volume to get there, a ton of red zone targets.
Who's going to
And
get the red
they-
zone targets there?
No, I've got him getting 7 touchdowns, and he still didn't stat out well for me.
Yeah, I got him at 5.
Yeah, his touchdown rate has basically been the only thing that's been keeping him afloat. His catch rate's not good. His yards per reception is not very good.
Yeah, the peripherals on Crabtree are pretty garbage.
Like way worse than I was expecting.
Yeah, I expected him better. Even when you look at his good season,
Mhm.
the peripherals weren't fantastic.
Yeah,
so
that was the year he had 150 targets or whatever.
I'm with you. I believe he gets the volume
Yeah.
because the number one receiver in this offense typically sees about 120 plus targets. Kamar Aiken was freaking fantasy relevant.
Yeah,
But-
so he'll be a 3, but it'll be very touchdown dependent and not as good as I was hoping or expecting when I was thinking about it.
Definitely hoping for it. It also looks like you believe in John Brown and I believe in Willie Snead. So
Yeah,
that's going to play into it.
Actually, the way I broke down their stats for the last couple of years is the 2 and the 3 actually see some decent volume.
They do. And
throw
you've
a
got to
shit
take it
ton.
away from the tight ends. And even then, the tight ends are still going to take some volume also. And they do throw a shit ton.
And they throw a lot to the running backs
And
too.
they do throw a lot to the running backs.
So-
It's spread out.
So yeah,
but-
there's a lot of volume, but it's not focused on one player. So you need somebody who really takes the ball and runs with it metaphorically to produce.
Alex Collins will be taking the ball and running with it.
Yes.
I also believe that a Crabtree is the best receiver they've had since a healthy Steve Smith, and healthy Steve Smith with a wide receiver 2
I mean,
during those
he's
stretches
definitely
when he was healthy.
I
He's
don't
definitely
disagree with that,
Yeah.
but I don't think
That's
he's
where
that.
the
He's not
stage
Steve
is.
Smith.
yeah, he's the best they've had, but that's not saying a whole lot.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
You mean he's better than Kamar Aiken?
And a shell of himself, Jeremy
Mike
Macklin.
Wallace? Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Wallace would be the closest to him, but either.
I'll give the Homer ranking to this, but that's.
But yeah,
I also
it's.
believe that
I had
Crabtree's
him.
better
I had
than
him.
what he was last year.
I had
He
him
was
about
banged up, too.
25 before the deep dive, and then I was like, ooh, never mind.
He ended up at 33 on stat projections for me.
Yeah, he was my 35.
Yeah.
All right, coming in at 30, Devontae Parker, who this is the exact flip of the situation where I didn't want to like him, and then the stat projection said,
I
you
don't
should like
even
him.
care about the projections. I've moved them up, but I need to see it from Parker.
I had to. I still like Albert Wilson more just because you can get him almost for free.
And Stills.
And it's going to be and Wilson's going to play the slot, which is a Landry role. But
I mean, Parker is going in the 9th, so it's not exactly pricey.
Yeah.
it's not free, though.
It is not free.
Touchdowns. Who's going around him?
Going in front of him, Funchess, Cup, Woods, just after him, Jordy Nelson, Robbie Anderson, Marquise Goodwin.
I would rather take Cup. That's not a surprise. I would rather take Cup as like injury insulation there. But anyway, Devontae Parker, he's not done it. It's like this is just a Miami thing where it's their breakout year every year.
He's
and then
Ryan
it's
Tannehill of
never
receivers.
actually their breakout year.
So our NFL today had a thread of like, who's your breakout player who you think that you don't think is ever going to happen, and then the top 2 responses were Parker and Tannehill.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, as it should be.
Goddamn year.
Touchdowns were his big killer. He wasn't targeted much in the red zone. 51.5 yards per game is respectable, but it's not what I want to. I mean, I guess in the 9th round, I'm okay with it. Catch rate of 59.4 isn't the worst, but it's not great.
I mean, for a contested catch it outside receiver, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I said it a lot of guys were in the 40s, so that was not bad.
Well, contested catch outside receiver catch rate, I normally expect around 55-ish to 57, so it is slightly better. Contested catch rate was all right, but 18% spread and catch versus catchable to me is concerning.
Mhm.
But Tannehill's going to be back. I think it was a slight upgrade over Cutler.
Cutler was bad last
They
year.
did
It's
have
more than slight.
Yeah, they did have a ton
Is
of
it a slight upgrade?
28%. Yes, it is.
Okay.
28% of the team's targets were vacated by Landry, so there's going to be volume there. So Devontae Parker, I could definitely see as a dart throw on the ninth. I like it if you need upside. I just don't project it well.
I hate this offense. They don't know what the fuck they're doing with this offense. You bring in two new receivers, and with a guy who's just like Tannehill, who hasn't got it done at all. I do like the fact that Tannehill and him have had this chemistry.
Tannehill's
But we
been
just
over
got to see
had
it. Yeah,
several
over
4,000 yard seasons.
He has.
3, I think.
It's real ugly over 4,000
Well,
yards.
it's also
It is.
been with Landry
I
as
mean,
his true one.
It's going to be garbage time and stuff too. Somebody's going to step up. That
I hope so.
No, there's volume here. It's why Parker and Stills came way higher than I was expecting.
Albert Wilson's still my dark horse here.
I like Stills and Wilson.
I like all three of them as if you can get them late enough.
Even Gesicki, if he can figure his shit out.
Wilson's free. I love Gesicki.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I projected Parker at 134 targets, and with even his kind of meh efficiency rates, he kind of jumped way off the page for me.
Well,
Yeah.
when you get volume, it helps.
Yeah, and I think he will.
I'm at 114 just because I think I spread more to Wilson.
Yeah, it sounds like you definitely did. I think I gave about 70 or 80 to Wilson.
I don't know what I gave to Wilson.
All right, but enough about Parker. Corey Davis, who's similar, just younger.
I'd rather have
Sleeper.
Corey Davis.
Yeah, you guys, I statted Davis lower than you guys did, just because I don't think the volume is quite there as much.
You still believe in Richard Matthews in? And if you slided Davis a bit more?
Yeah, I still believe a bit in Richard Matthews.
I
I've
think
got
Davis
those two very close.
I didn't stat Davis exceptionally well. I just moved him up based on the fact of it's the second year he was hurt. If I'm taking a dart throw this is how I projected people and this is how I range people based on likeliness to happen. I think Corey Davis is a very likely guy to take that next step.
And he'll be a guy I'll probably smooth up as positive news starts coming out, which I'm sure it will.
Yeah, Corey Davis is not a guy who's going to see a ton of volume just because I don't expect Tennessee is going to be an offense that passes a ton. Rashard Matthews will still command some. Delaney Walker is still definitely going to command some. So, but you got to remember that the talent's there. He was a high draft pick for a reason. He can go up and get it. He can, beat people physically. He's got everything you want in a wide receiver one. So,
So I love him in Dynasty. In redraft, I'm a little more cautious on it.
Yeah, I would rather take him than Parker, and it's just because I've had multiple seasons of Parker not doing it, and I've had one season of Corey Davis with injuries. So
It's like a 3 or 4 round difference.
yeah,
Too.
if I'm rolling the dice.
So he's going.
Davis is
he's
in the
going
6th
605.
round. Yeah, he's going at a range where you're gonna have to pay pretty high.
So guys, he's going in front of who we just talked about. He's going in front of Garcon, Crowder, Sanders, Cobb.
I won't own him.
Yeah,
Then.
it's more of just like people want to believe in his upside. He was the 105 last year in the NFL draft. We love his upside. We love what we saw on tape from him. It's just, can he be supported in this offense as a wide receiver too, which is where I think a lot of people are taking him.
All right. Tier 14, Emmanuel Sanders at 32.
Slept on too.
Big sleeper. I think he bounces back this year. You saw what Keenum did with Diggs and Thielen. He's a better quarterback. Sanders is going to be more targeted. He's fighting for his job at this point, really. So, but Sanders is a big sleeper here. And again, what it comes down to in this tier is, do you need upside or do you need safety?
What's his ADP, Nick?
7-11.
Slurpee.
7-11? Oh, he's gone up a bunch.
He's gone up.
Yeah,
a
he was
bunch.
in the ninth round.
He's at where I think I would want to take him right now. I think he's
he's going in between Crowder and Cobb. So
he's part of the same mold as that. So.
Yeah.
I'm a little more confident in Crowder and Cobb, I think.
Yeah, but if those two start rising and Sanders stays where he is, I'll still be
take
interested.
Sanders because I think Sanders is a bounce back candidate, even if it's not to what he was, 2 years ago. I still think that it's better than what it was last year.
Yeah, I mean, he was playing hurt through a lot of last season too.
He was
on top of just being a terrible pass offense.
It's all him and Thomas in this, at least in this passing offense. Like I like Hamilton to be the slot receiver there. I think he'll beat out Carlos Anderson because he's healthy. But I think Sanders and Thomas are going to be the 1 and 2. They're going to receive 95 plus targets each.
Yeah, the two of them could easily pull 50% of this team's targets.
Not more.
All right. And then also in this tier is Josh Gordon at 33.
Yes, 33.
and
okay
I
with
think
it.
that's too high.
I still think that's too high. I think. Do my rankings say that's too high?
By one spot for you.
Okay.
I'm by far the lowest.
I feel like it should maybe be. I don't know. Josh Gordon's a guy like is a big play type of guy. I think he's gonna be what everybody thinks Will Fuller would be. You look at everybody's like, you had that great season. He had 175 targets that season. He's not doing that again.
Yeah, and the players on his team, it was like Devon Bess and guys like that were the best other targets on his team. He's got to compete with Duke Johnson, Landry, Njoku. It's just there's much better players here
He's
to
like
split the target volume.
Martavis Bryant.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah.
Except probably better.
He's definitely better.
I just saw my rankings on him. Yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
bring it down a little
I
bit
think
more.
that this was fine for an upside player. I mean, he came back middle of last year, but completely new offense, trying to pick that up on the fly, completely new playbook. 7 offensive coordinators and 22 quarterbacks since the suspension or something like that. So
It's
that
bad.
might be slightly exaggerated, but it's still bad.
I don't know if it's
So,
that. I don't think
It's closer to that number than it should be.
It's a lot
Yes.
closer than it should
wasn't
be.
as much of an exaggeration as it should have been. I'm not taking him where he's going, though.
Yeah,
Wide receiver 12. Fuck no.
Reminder is going in the 3rd round. If he was going in the 8th, we'll talk.
Yeah, he's going in the 8th. I'm more about that because he does have high upside, but there's almost no floor there.
I think he's gonna burn you a lot like what Brian did last year. Like he may give you some wide receiver 1 finishes, maybe 1 or 2 there, but like you said, there's too many mouths to feed in a low passing offense.
Yeah.
I hated Martavis Bryant.
Yeah, even if his efficiency
Me
numbers
too.
are great, I don't think he can possibly be wide receiver 12. There just is not going to be enough.
Not a snowball's chance in hell.
Yeah,
I mean,
unless Landry, Njoku, and Johnson all get hurt, and then all the volume goes to him.
and
That's
the
like
Browns will suck either way.
no, that's kind of what I expect to happen
Yeah.
either way. All right, tier 15, Sterling Shepard at 34.
Give me. It's Stephon Diggs light. With Marshall gone, there's targets open. They were gonna have to throw to somebody else other than just Odell Beckham and Saquon Barkley. Sterling Shepard playing the slot. I mean, look, he's not gonna give you. If somebody gets hurt, his value rises exponentially. Without anybody getting hurt, I still think he's probably a solid flex play. Week in, week out, he should see a decent number of targets. We know that he's talented, so where's he going?
He's going in the mid 10th.
Oh,
Oh,
value.
yes, please.
You mean I can get a team that does Garcon, Cobb, Crowder,
Shepard.
Shepard.
In the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th rounds.
If
Yeah.
you
Zero
need, if
wide
you need
receiver.
receivers.
Ladies and gentlemen, 0 wide receiver is very viable this year.
Especially that team in full point PPR would be sick.
Yes.
I still have a slight concern with Shepard, just where he lands on target totem pole. Just I mean, like you mentioned, Barkley and
Ahead of
obviously.
Evan Ingram, probably about equal as Saquon the way that I have it projected.
I had him about 10 more
Little
targets
more.
than Barkley.
Yeah, a little more, and then definitely behind Odell.
But I mean, everything about him is good. He's got a great touchdown rate for his career so far.
Great
His
reception rate, great separation.
Just got to
yards per reception is good, and
Yeah.
he's been more healthy than Beckham for this
I know.
career.
I know.
Oh yeah, I gave him 13 more targets than Saquon.
That's
So,
exactly how many more I had.
And they want him, and there's been hype that's been building around him.
Yeah, he's.
Manning is in love with him in this offseason so far.
I figured there would be too many targets going away from him. I had him lower in my gut check, and then when I projected him out, he
It's
rose
just how
up.
you think of what the Giants are going to do as a team too. We expect them to be more balanced, but you bring in a offensive-minded coach who projects to make this team balanced. Barkley's not going to hurt these guys as much as I think people think. I think Barkley just helps their upside more.
Yeah,
Because
this
his offense is going to produce if everyone stays healthy.
Yeah, the new coach, a healthy Beckham, and bringing in Barkley. I don't think this hurts anybody. I think this is a situation where it just grows the pie for
Touchdowns
everybody.
may be a little up and down, but you don't. It's hard to like. You can't trust.
You can't predict touchdowns.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, touchdowns are tough to predict, but he made his own plays last year,
Yep, he had to.
Yeah.
so I like him a lot. And then 35, a very similar type player, Nelson Agholor.
Yep, Nelson Agholor is a guy that I think has earned a target increase from last year. You got the departure of Selleck, Burton, Torrey Smith. and a handful of others, even if it's only marginal. He had 95 targets last year. He took a big step as far as his catch rate and efficiency. Carson Wentz was incredibly accurate when he was passing to him. Used more in the red zone than Alshon, not just in the end zone, but really used more in both places. So, and he had the penchant for the big play, but he wasn't necessarily big play reliable because he was getting targeted. And last I looked, his ADP was around 13?
10.
It's gone up. But still,
that's fine.
Nelson Agholor and Sterling Shepard in the 10th is beautiful. And if I can get either of those guys, I mean, they're going to be my fourth wide receiver at that point.
Yeah, easily.
Easily.
Yeah, you could go 4 running back, 2 tight end, quarterback, and grab them as your fourth receiver still.
Yes, and I'm completely happy with that. Nelson Agholor, there's an outside chance that he could outperform Jeffrey. Not saying it's going to happen.
Well, it could happen.
Not making that bold prediction. But there's an outside chance that he could be the number one wide receiver on that team. So you can grab him in the 10th round. Have fun.
I mean, he was.
I would definitely recommend grabbing him anyway, because he's another guy that in the 10th round, if you suffer an injury of some sort, you can just plug him in and feel pretty okay about that.
So I actually projected him I thought his numbers are probably going to drop a little bit because he was shattering his career highs last year. And his efficiency rates went off the charts compared to previous seasons for him.
I don't think that
he moved to the slot.
Yeah, he did move to the slot.
I don't think that dips much lower just because his offense is so.
I said I dipped him slightly, so okay. I'm lower on him than you guys are, but I still like him a lot, especially at the 10th round price.
Yeah. I mean, there is some concern for me just because of that drop, like with him and Jeffrey flipping. But he's still a great flex option during bye weeks.
He still maintained targets too, so it's not like Jeffrey took targets from him. He still maintained them. It was just a matter of, I projected him to have about 10 more targets this year. It's not like I give him a giant bump.
Yeah.
But I projected him about 10 more targets, similar efficiency.
And he's a wide receiver 3 to end this season last year.
All right.
So it wasn't bad.
Well, let's get to a beer review because the next tier starts getting some real gross names in it.
This is going to be terrible when we get to the next tier.
Beer review.
What'd you guys think of Tsunami by Toppling Goliath?
I really like it. It's really sweet on the nose, which I think is definitely the mandarin orange that's in there. You get a lot of sweetness there. But it kind of finishes with a slow, kind of like almost a piney hot burn. It's a little bit of citrus.
And very mild.
Very mild. Yes. It's a very mild, slow, kind of piney hot burn that really complements the citrus of the mandarin orange that's in this well. It's a very drinkable, very good summer beer.
What he said. Seriously, it was perfect.
You can't expand on perfection.
You can't expand on perfection.
Shout out Chris Thompson.
Only thing I want to add, I've never had a beer that I would describe as tasting cheerful before, but that's kind of what this is.
It brings me joy.
Not I'm happy, the beer's happy.
Yeah, it's happiness in a can.
Drink me.
Yes, you're drinking oh, you're very happy.
And it's got this nice bright yellow can to it with some waves and stuff on it. If you're having a bad day, grab one of these.
Yeah,
it'll cheer you up.
It brings you joy.
Or at the very least, it'll start getting you drunk, which that should help too.
That also.
All right. Anything else we want to add before we move on to Tier 16 in the Pit of Misery?
Nope. Shout out Toppling Goliath, though, because it should have been probably sooner than 130-ish episodes, 140-ish episodes before we got you back on, because I loved Rover Truck, too, which was the last one we had by then.
Yeah. I don't see a ton of their stuff around, though.
Pseudo Sue is pretty good, though.
I've had that before on tap.
It benefits the Chicago Field Museum, too, though, if you can find it. So
Definitely props there. I got lost in the Chicago Field Museum as a child, so... Yeah. I probably owe them some money. Tier 16. Kelvin Benjamin at 36. Super gross.
Gross.
But he's a wide receiver 1.
He's got to be.
He's going to get some ugly targets, but he's going to produce some games.
Brandon LaFell rule invoked.
Yeah. Heavily invoked the Brandon LaFell rule.
It's the Brandon LaFell rule. If you're looking for, I don't even want to call it upside. If you're looking for a guy that you know is going to get targets and probably have some ugly catches and ugly touchdowns and miss 3 games because he hurts his knee again.
You can do worse for a wide receiver 5, 6 on your team. I don't know what his ADP is, but it's got to be right around there.
He is going 1101, which actually, not
yeah,
bad.
no, that's okay.
Fine with me.
For a guy that's been a wide receiver one before, all right.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll take him over Calvin Ridley.
I was, yeah. Look,
Yeah.
he's the number one wide receiver on an NFL football team. I'll definitely take him over a number 3 wide receiver on a NFL
Steve
football
Sarkisian-led
team that's
team.
ran by Steve Sarkisian.
All right, we don't need to get into that again.
We won't go off the rails with the fuck yous.
So obviously some concerns here with the injury, with just the overall offense being terrible. But
Yes, I don't want to talk about this offense.
Kelvin Benjamin.
But
Didn't we say enough already?
okay, fine. Rashard Matthews.
I'm more happy about talking about Rashard Matthews.
Rashard Matthews is a guy that never gets respect.
Nope.
He should play. But he always somehow just comes out and plays football. He comes out and plays football, and
does his job.
He does his job. He's an injury. He's kind of a Cooper Kupp type of player, to where
To replace Topper with Chris Collinsworth.
well, here's a guy that he plays football, and he goes out there and he catches balls with his hands.
He just goes over the middle and just makes a tough NFL catch.
Makes the tough plays. He's another one of those guys that if you need to insulate something, he's a good guy to insulate it with, because even with the projected emergence of Corey Davis, Rashard Matthews has been the wide receiver in this offense that has consistently done it.
Yep. And upside play, if Davis doesn't put it together
or gets hurt, which he's tend to do.
Then
so
he's a wide
far.
receiver too.
Yep. So there is some upside there. So I definitely, I didn't project him great, but I like him more than my projection just based on
It's
some
hard
of those
to project
traits.
him great.
It's one of
in
those
offense.
security things, and
Yeah.
he's one of those people that if an injury happens, then he automatically bumps up versus some other guys around here that you're just not so sure of.
Oh, and going back to the ADP train, going in the 12th round.
Loves it.
Yeah, and again, you're looking for dart throws or security there, and if you're looking for security, Rashard Matthews is a good security play.
All right.
Bye-week level replacement, done.
And speaking of security, Cooper Kupp at 38.
Yep, I just mentioned him. Brandon Cook's signing does not hurt Cooper Kupp. It hurts Robert Woods. Cooper Kupp plays a completely different role. He's got rapport with Goff. He's still going to see targets. He's still going to see over the middle targets, and he gets utilized in the red zone. Not a high upside play, but again, a really good floor play. Kind of your, a guy that you want to have as your wide receiver 3 or 4 on your team.
Yeah, he's your ideal 4.
He's your ideal 4 because you don't have to play him in the flex or every week then, or especially if you're in a 3 wide receiver league. But if the matchup is good, you plug him in. If somebody has a bad matchup, you plug him in, and you plug him in on bye weeks. And
Somebody gets hurt, he's your multi-week fill-in.
You know that you can plug him in and get between 8 and 10 points and half point.
Very well said. I mean, that's what he
It's
is.
exactly why I fell in love with him coming out of college, because remember from last episode, I'm kind of your ultimate I like safe.
He puts his pail hat on and goes to work.
All right,
Hard hat, lunch pail, going to work.
Yep.
All right, well, let's have another projection versus gut feeling fight. Robbie Anderson at 39. You and I loved him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't want to love him.
Yeah, I don't want to love anything that has to do with the Jets. Robbie Anderson, he's my favorite to be the wide receiver 1. I think he's got more big play and outside ability than Quincy Enunwa does. He's kind of a glorified tight end.
Well, Nuno runs out of the slot.
Oh,
He
God.
is
And runs out. He is a glorified.
he's a move tight end.
Yep. So
I got him a little bit too low.
Robbie Anderson, I think, is still the guy here. It's not going to be pretty. I don't expect it to be pretty, but it's kind of in the same vein as Kelvin Benjamin. It's like somebody in this offense is going to get targets. It's probably going to be Robbie Anderson, and he was a wide receiver 1 the first part of last year.
I think my projection of him was made prior, or was made right after the suspension, so I dipped him low. I must have looked over him.
Update your
I don't
rankings.
want. I do, but I look at it. I'm like, he's so low that I'm like, I don't want to think about a Jets receiver to begin with.
Well, I will say,
And we have to, because he did very well last year.
projecting out
as
this
a flex
offense,
play.
this offense will support at minimum of 1 receiver. It might support 2.
I got Anderson at 108 targets, which is decent volume. He's not a high efficiency guy, but you get that
It's
volume.
good yards per reception, and
Yeah, it's good yards per reception, so he's going to be up there in yardage, and he's going to bust off a couple big plays and pick up some touchdowns. I've got Quincy Enunwa not too far below him at I think I had him at 99 targets. So
Yeah, I even went 90. So there might be 2 fantasy relevant players out of this.
it's just going to be low fantasy relevant.
They may eat into each other, which is going to make the trust of them hurt more because one of them I can't see them producing 2 on a weekend basis though. It's going to be a lot of what we saw with Kurtz early on last year.
I mean, unless they're playing on Thursday night, it's only going to be a weekend basis.
He's right.
He is right.
And they're going to be playing from behind a lot too, so you got to take into account garbage time.
Yeah, this offense is still
Let's
building.
suggest what they did last year and just just hang on to their game. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they were in a lot more games than they should have been.
Yeah,
And they still have the same head coach.
And they still have McCowan. And if he doesn't work out, I don't hate Darnold or Bridgewater.
Nope.
No, I don't either.
So I like this offense a hell of a lot more than I like the Bills' offense.
Yep.
I feel like I should like it more than I don't.
Neither of them are pretty.
No, I know.
No.
But
3 of the bottom 5 teams in the NFL might be in the same division,
Right.
which is gross.
Yep.
But that still doesn't mean they're not fantasy relevant.
I know.
Unfortunately, it's the same division as the Patriots are in. So
All right. And then one more guy in this tier. It is Devin Funchess. This is the exact opposite of the Robbie Anderson fight. You have him super high. We're way low.
I know. I'm super high on him. I don't think DJ Moore is going to take the wide receiver 1 role from here.
no, because Greg Olsen will.
Yeah, I know. I think he will too. I still think so. I still think this offense is going to produce and get into the red zone. I don't like to predict touchdowns, but I see a guy who's going to get his end zone targets. He had 28% end zone target share last year, which was good for 11th best. He was 24% last year when he had Benjamin and Olsen, who were both healthy with him, or not last 2 years ago. I just see a little more upside to him. I know it's going to be gross. I understand that. I'm not taking him as my wide receiver 2. He's a 3 for me, which is, I think, safe for that. But I think a lot of people hate him. I know you guys are about to, eviscerate him, which you love to do.
I do love to eviscerate Devin Funchess. It's one of my favorite things to do.
So you guys can go and eviscerate him. I'm not super high on him, but I think I'm higher than most.
First off, I'm not going to bet on anybody where I look at him like, well, he might get touchdowns, and I don't have anything else that I like there. 6.9 targets a game last season with almost nobody else, though. So that's going to fall. That's going to fall by about 2 targets a game, I think, when you factor in the fact that Olsen's coming back, DJ Moore's there, CJ Anderson's there, who's also a viable pass catcher. And as much as I hate to say it, they like Curtis Samuel. So you got to... That's going to cut in a little bit.
I wasn't even going to bring up Curtis Samuel.
I don't like bringing up Curtis Samuel, but they like him. So you got to take that into account at least a little bit. He's 35th in yak, 37th in yards per route, 58th in separation, only 21st in contested catch for a guy that should be making his living contesting catches or winning contested catches. He shouldn't be contesting them. He's not a cornerback, although that might be a good career choice for him. Efficiency numbers they're just not that of a wide receiver 1. Moore projects better in that role, and when you factor in the people that are coming back, I just can't see him being even. He's a 4 maybe at best for me.
You got him as a 5.
Yeah,
he's a mid 4 for me.
Well, I said at best. So
I fully expected to get hate for this, but I'm still standing on this train.
So my issue is
you'll die on this train.
I projected it out. I don't see any way outside of an Olsen injury happening again that he is not 3rd in targets.
I think he's behind CMC? I think he'll get more than CMC.
I don't think you will.
I think he will not. He will out target DJ Moore.
He's going to out target DJ Moore. I got DJ Moore at like 80.
Okay,
but I've got Funchess at 95. I've got CMC at 100, and I've got Olsen at 105.
Yeah, fair.
I just don't see him being the number 1 or 2 target in this game.
I had him at 86. So, but I've got Olsen over 100. I've got him like almost the exact same as what I have CMC.
So yeah, and his efficiency numbers just aren't great. So basically, the only way he produces in this offense this year with
somebody, CMC or Olsen gets hurt.
Either needs to get hurt, or he needs to take the next step and just massively bump his efficiency numbers,
which he hasn't done over the last 3+ years.
This is his 4th year in the season, so 3
plus. It's plus. So he's had OTAs. Sorry, I'm just covering my own ass with that. All right. You can ignore my bullshit.
Enough about that tier. Let's jump to tier 17. Marquise Goodwin.
I like him in the sense that I think that he's the field stretcher here. I like him in the sense that if Garcon gets hurt again, he's a de facto number one here. He proved that he could do it. He played through a lot of crap last year, not just physical, but emotional also. He's a good dart throw. Late round. Again, think he's going to be more big play dependent than anything. He does have the rapport with Jimmy Garoppolo, like you mentioned when we were talking Pierre Garcon, though, so that's kind of hard to ignore. And we're getting into some of these, round 9 to end of your draft guys, and Goodwin's a guy that I like there.
He is going in round 9, though.
It's a little high for me.
Ooh. Is he?
I'd rather have him at 11 or 12.
Yeah, I won't own much of him.
Yeah, he's going just after Robbie Anderson. He's going in front of Shepard, Agholor, Benjamin.
But there's a lot of
Shepard,
people out there that absolutely think that this offense is going to be like top 5.
Oh, yeah. If you think Garoppolo's going to be a top 5 quarterback, then you should probably invest in all these players.
Yep. If you think that.
I do not. I think he's going to be a high-end quarterback, too, as I think we all agree with.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else to add on Goodwin. The touchdown rate from last year, though, was a little high. I think that is going to come down a little bit.
I think so, too.
Allen Hurns, the first Cowboy receiver at 42, which
He
is...
could be a true sleeper this year, though.
Oh, he could be.
He could be.
Welcome back to the Kelvin Benjamin and thing. He only 16-game season was his rookie year. The injury thing is very real with Hurns, but separation 27th, catch rate 14th. Not a great catchable target rate, but everything else was good. His contested catch rate was good. Air yards were relatively up there. It's not really Dak's game, but you got 242 vacated targets with Dez and Jason Witten gone. And Dak's actually a bit better downfield than Bortles is. So, and Hurns is a better contested catch rate than Dez. So, really, from an efficiency standpoint, not going to be great. But I think that he works deeper. I think that he affords the Cowboys a chance to take more shots if they need to. This is still Zeke's team. And he could be a sleeper. And I think that he is the number one target getter on this team for whatever that's worth. Probably wide receiver 3 at best.
Which is fine.
Which is fine here.
10th, 11th, 12th round.
He's going in the 9th.
He's gone up. There's been a lot of hype on him. Like he's going to be he's gotten a hype from camp as the number one guy here.
You're telling me all these guys going in the 9th, and then Agholor and Shepard are still down there, and I just like Agholor and Shepard at value even more.
And the issue for me is I don't see the Cowboys force-feeding any one person targets this year, even if Hurns is the one.
Well, I mean, he was 27th in target separation at 1.71. I mean, it's not great, but it's better than average, which is what fits Dak's game nicely. He had his career high in catch rate last year at 69.8%. If you can stay healthy, he is their number one. It's not Gallup right now. As much as we want to think it's Gallup,
it will eventually be Gallup.
Yeah, it will.
But
it will.
It's not right now.
I don't think it's going to be this year.
But I have both of them pretty similarly statted for targets, and that's really what's kind of, for me, is going to kill Hurns. Is I don't think he's going to be able to get enough of the pie.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of pie to go around here. It's going to be like a McDonald's fruit pie versus like.
Yep.
It depends
Marie Callender's frozen pie.
There's also Terrence Williams, who
and Cole Beasley.
They still believe in. So I mean,
I think they're going to throw it to Zeke more this year, and Rod Smith's still there. So there's
Tavon Austin, who they want to use more in the offense,
and Austin. So there's a lot of guys that are going to get something
on a not high volume pass team.
Yep, I think I have them as the lowest pass volume team in the league.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's just I don't want pass catchers in this team in general. Is the way I'm breaking.
Not a Hurns in the
like if I miss on Hurns because he breaks out and gets 150 targets, whatever, I'll be fine with that.
Yep.
All right, moving on. After Hurns, we got Jordy Nelson, which this was once again projections love him. Gut feeling does not. I kind of agree with the gut feeling in my heart.
I don't see it.
I went more with projections because I convinced myself.
Yeah, there's a ton of volume for somebody. I don't think it's going to be Martavis Bryant. Somebody's got to catch.
I think it's going to be split. It's what we've seen before with the guys that they spent a 3rd round pick on Bryant. They have a role for Bryant. If he gets suspended, though, that's a big contingency. If he misses time, then yes, I will be higher on Jordy.
Different players. So Bryant's a field stretcher. Jordy is more possession. His field stretching days are gone.
Well, yeah.
If Cooper's volume is Crabtree plus, I kind of expect Jordy's is going to be Cooper minus a little bit because remember that Crabtree was out targeting Cooper.
Yeah.
So
So would you have him at like right around 100 targets?
6.4 targets a game, whatever that works out to.
Like 105?
Yeah. Well, hold on. I can tell you exactly.
Right around 100.
Probably about 100. So I think it was
like
I
105,
gotta find him.
110.
Hold on.
I just
102.4. I had him at 103.
I had him 102. Yep.
Yeah.
63 receptions, 850 yards, 6 touchdowns. He does still pick up yardage. He is still a red zone threat. So I can't turn my back on that. And you can, yes, they spent a 3rd-round pick on Bryant, but they also went out and signed Jordy. And again, I don't think Jordy's down year was as much about Jordy as it was about Rodgers not being there.
Yeah, like for me, it was. I know that Cooper's the one, and when I deep dove, which is tough because when you deep dive Gruden's numbers, that's a 10-year span from 10 years ago. So it's hard to trust what Gruden's going to bring to a newer NFL.
No, I had to project these
it's
more.
a little harder for me.
I had to project this more based on current days NFL and then what the players are not necessarily doing.
It was same thing for me.
I mean, for what we know, it could be just like Tampa Bay. I think in his last a couple years where they didn't really have a one.
Yeah, and I had to drop his efficiency numbers just because I do think Jordy's starting to go over the hill. But even still, he projected well.
He did project pretty well.
So that was a surprise for me. I am now, after doing projections, I'm higher on Jordy than I was before.
Yep.
So you're saying is I should not do projections so we can keep having the projected versus gut feeling?
Up to you, man. You prep however you want to.
Yeah,
I'm glad I projected, though.
You do you, but I
boo-boo.
think projecting helped me a lot also.
I know projecting well.
All right. And once again, flipping the script, Robert Woods, you were higher on him than us by quite a bit.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I don't know if Woods is going to be faded to the 3rd role behind Kupp and Cooks. And I think a lot of it was just more of the chemistry thing. A lot of this could be because of the Cooks re-signing changed things for me a bit. I moved Cooks up, but I didn't move Woods back. So that's kind of where I sit on that.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't see the volume being there, and a lot of his plays were...
I'm starting to lean towards that, where I don't know if he's going to get...
Because you got him as a wide receiver 3 right now, as you're 36. Are you pulling him back probably?
Probably. I don't know how much more, though. I still think he's 2nd in targets on this team. Well, maybe 3rd behind Gurley. Or Cooks.
So you think you have him in front of Kupp?
I do have him. I would have him in front of Kupp.
I think I have him relatively close.
I definitely have Kupp in front.
I got Kupp in front, though. I know that. I do know that.
But yeah, for me, I think with Cooks there's just not going to be the target
I
point.
think, it's like I said earlier, Cooks hurts Woods more than Cooks hurts Kupp.
I know I hate narratives, but I agree with that.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, no.
He's going to be...
It could be.
Cooks is going to demand more targets than Watkins did, and I think the way they seem to design that offense, it seems like there's a set number of plays that are going to go outside versus inside. So I think that a lot of the share has to come from Woods.
Well, that and a lot of it is that Woods played the Kupp role early on until, I don't know if until Watkins got hurt or
Watkins got hurt.
Nobody got hurt.
Yeah,
Woods got hurt
because Woods was extremely safe too to start the season last year. Then that became more of Kupp's role.
Kupp was floor also the entire season.
I know. I completely agree with that.
All right, so yeah,
I've been faded on Woods too. So
where's Woods going?
Probably higher than he should be. I'm guessing 8th round.
Back end of the 8th round.
Yeah,
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I will just pass. Yeah, he's going even too high for you, Dan.
Yeah, I know.
All right, Julian Edelman kicking off our last tier. We're going to talk about tier 18. This is a player I am just straight out on.
Yeah.
4-game suspension plus what I projected was not good enough for me to be interested.
The projections for me were all right, but the 4-game suspension is kind of what puts me out on him. I'm not sure what his ADP is, but
still too high.
I think that when he comes, here's the problem with the 4-game suspension. If Jordan Matthews plays well, you could end up in just a wide receiver by committee role for that entire team. And that's not a situation that you want to be in when you're trying to throw wide receivers. I think Julian Edelman might be the most sure thing for targets right now. Still looking at it, but that could all change, especially in the first 4 games. There's a decent amount of risk associated with that. If you're looking for a late round dart throw, you could have yourself a wide receiver 1, a high end 2 the rest of the way. But
it's also 30.
What's his ADP?
6'10".
Yeah, it's
Nope.
high. It's terribly high. He barely dropped when he got suspended.
He'd have to be down round 10-ish for me to be like, okay, do this.
where I'm going to take the swing and hold him for 4 games. Yeah, I'm not spending a 6th-round pick on a guy who's suspended for 4 games unless it's an elite game-breaking type player like Mark Ingram.
I'm saying unless it's Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to have a guy
a shallow position too.
Yeah, there's way more wide receivers I'm willing to take swings on this year. Whereas Ingram projected as a top 12-ish back for me if he was not suspended.
Yeah, it's the points per game.
Same for me. And with Julian Edelman, it's could he be? Yes. Am I going to spend a 6th-round pick on could he? No.
Yeah. So if he falls to the 10th round, start considering it. Before then, I'd pass real hard. All right, Marquise Lee.
Insert Alan Hearns here.
Nah, insert Rashard Matthews here, I think.
Or Matthews too, yeah.
I think it's more insert Rashard Matthews because Marquise Lee, I think, is the one thing in this offense that you can count on. You can look at volume, and it's like, okay, D.D. Westbrook. You look at productivity, that'll steer you towards Keelan Cole. You look at talent, that's going to steer you towards Dante Moncrief. But you look at reliability, and it's been Marquise Lee the last 2 or 3 years. It's been getting targets here and just kind of been consistently doing it as long as he's healthy. He's a little bit more injury prone than Matthews is, but I think the productivity is probably going to be about the same for those two. And I think he's got a solidified role. So Marquise Lee, just go back to the Rashard Matthews argument, and that's kind of where my Lee take stands. Just a little bit lighter because the volume, I think, is a little lighter.
I didn't think of it that way before you made the argument, but I do kind of agree where I kind of know what Marquise Lee is going to be.
Yep.
He has a shot at possibly being the one if everyone else just kind of fails here, and he might actually get some decent volume. But I know he's going to be the 2. Like, no matter how else this shakes out, Lee will be the 2 running out of the slot. And the volume will be there. He should be between 90 and 100 targets, relatively safe.
What's his ADP?
ADP matters a lot here.
Like
early 11th.
That's I'm fine with that. Like I don't have a lot of faith in the Jacksonville passing offense just because of volume. Not because of Bortles.
No, I wasn't going to jump on that. I'm with you. It's volume, and you just don't know who's going to do what.
There's
except for
so
Marquise
many
Lee.
moving pieces. If Lee's healthy, as he proved last year, 7 to 10 targets a game when he's healthy.
He's the consistent
completely
piece
fine.
here.
Yeah, the other 3
just gotta stay healthy.
You're taking shots on who's the other one who's going to get targets, whether they're the 1 or the 2. But Lee's the only one I really trust.
Yeah, he's like Matthews, he's like Cobb, and if you take throws on guys in rounds, 8, 9, then Lee's a person you can kind of insulate that with to give yourself a little
safety. If you haven't noticed, we like PPR guys here. We like guys that guys out of the slot, guys that run outside that maybe work over the middle a lot more than just a traditional outside deep threat role.
Well, and when you get to these rounds of your draft too, we're trying to help our listeners find value in these rounds of the draft. So you're going to balance between, like you were about to say, going to balance between upside play and safety. And if you take upside swings in round 8, 9, Marquise Goodwin, Jordy Nelson, then you could insulate that with a guy like Marquise Lee, who's going to have some safety there.
And this is why you draft in tiers. So when you're looking at guys, you're like, hey, I see that these guys have a little different profile. Say you're looking at maybe in an earlier round, you're looking at Robbie Anderson versus Rashard Matthews, and you're like, all right, well, I need more upside, so I'm going to take Robbie Anderson versus I need more floor. I'm going to take Rashard Matthews.
Yep.
That's why you always try to draft in tiers. Last guy in tier 18, and we're going to wrap up this show, is Cameron Meredith, who, once again, I think I understand people's concern. We're talking about a guy who should be the number 2 in a Drew Brees-led offense.
Cam Meredith and Willie Snead are really similar to me in the fact that as far as how they play, they should also see targets in their respected offenses. But Willie Snead saw 104 targets in 2016 playing a similar slot role as to what I think Cam Meredith is going to play. And Meredith put up a 68% catch rate and reliable fantasy numbers, catching passes from guys named Jay Cutler, Matt Barkley, and Brian Hoyer. So Cam Meredith in a Drew Brees offense on a preseason ACL injury, he's young, so I'm pretty sure that'll be fine, is a guy that could jump up to be a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. And it's not so much an upside play either. I think it's more safe than people think it is also. I mean, he was getting a massive amount of hype last year before the injury happened, and now he lands in a place with a better quarterback and a better offense that supported 2 top 24 wide receivers.
I mean, he made Ted Ginn 77% catch rate. Ted Ginn. Which is like 30% higher than his
career average.
And that's going to be Meredith's role. Like, I think no matter what, Ginn or Smith are going to play outside. Meredith is playing in the slot where I think he can be extremely effective. He has a plus high agility score per profile. I think it's like 106, which is good for like 95th, somewhere around there. I may be a little high on that, but he'll play that role perfectly, and he's great at separation. He's a great route runner. He's got good hands, and he gets Drew Brees, who's the most efficient quarterback we may have ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
He's solid for overall burst score and stuff. Like he's an 86%.
You're not looking for a burst score. You're looking for agility score. Agility score is what you want
89th for agility.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Still good.
It's really good. 89th percentile is pretty fucking good.
And if in a reliable offense in a place where you could see about 100 targets, sure. What's his ADP?
His ADP is mid 11th.
Yep.
Yeah, give me that
All day.
I love Meredith.
Take him over Lee.
Or sorry, late 11th, 11-12.
Ooh.
He and Rashard
pretty
Matthews.
much. Yeah.
Yep.
He and Rashard Matthews had the same ADP, and then right after him in the 12th round, you run into Martavis Bryant, Geronimo Allison, Kenny Galladay, Michael Gallup, Josh Doxson.
All the upside plays.
Give me Meredith over all of that.
Yeah, completely.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about, or any guys that did not make the list that you thought were left out?
Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin is one I definitely want to talk about.
I want to throw that name out
I
there.
want to talk about Chris Godwin and Kenny Galladay, I think. We'll start with Godwin. Utilization went up the last 4 games of the season. He went up to 28.2 routes run versus 10.5. According to his own coach, he's earned the right to start. When he ran 15 or more routes last year, is at 4.2 receptions for 72.6 yards and a touchdown. 9th in yards per target, 8th in yards per pass.
I need to pause you. You keep saying that particular stat. I'm pretty sure you miswrote that because he only scored 1 touchdown last year.
Pause for effect.
Hold on.
So I've
By the
heard
way-
that said a few times. It like kept ringing wrong in my head.
I think I rounded up, maybe. I don't remember.
Okay. Because the yards and stuff sounds right, and then I keep hearing the 1 touchdown. I'm like, he only scored 1 touchdown last year. Was one of the last plays of the season.
I might have typed
Was
that out
against
wrong.
Saints week 17.
Yeah.
But either way, he's going to push Jackson.
But either way,
for
the
number 2
yardage
role.
and the receptions stands.
Yeah, and he profiles as a guy who should be effective in the red zone as well. So their touchdown should be there. That's not something I'm trying to knock you on. It just,
No, it
I think
should
that
be.
stat's wrong.
It was. It should be. I'm not sure how that came out there. Anyway, sorry. When he ran 15 or more routes and 4.2 receptions, 72.6 yards, 9th in yards per target, 8th in yards per pass route, solid contested catch rate, and a cutter offense. I look back at Vincent Jackson, who saw 6.1 targets per game his 1 year in it as a number 2. And I think that's reasonable to expect for Chris Godwin if he does get the nod to
That's
start.
right around 100 targets right there.
Mhm.
That's about 102?
No, 6.1 would put him at like 96, 97.
So you're looking for a deep sleeper.
98.
Chris Godwin's a great deep sleeper.
We've been pumping him. I mean, I've made a bunch of hot takes about him. I think he's going to be
So-
fantastic this year.
The way I stated it is that Jackson's still the 2. If we get rumors that is not the case, I am pushing all chips in
I
on
do
Godwin.
not think Jackson. I think Jackson may start out as a 2 on the depth chart, but I think Godwin
As soon as
takes that over.
Cutter made the comment that Godwin earned the right to start, I don't even care if Jackson is the 2. If Godwin's on the field, I still like him to catch more than Jackson.
So I thought that was the OC, not the. Not
Doesn't
Cutter.
matter.
It was Cutter, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I believe the OC more than Cutter at this point.
But
that too.
either way, even if he's taking Adam Humphrey's spot on the field, if he's on the field,
and he's not even being drafted, so like there's no draft capital investment.
Take him with
Maybe
your last pick.
14th round, exactly.
take him with your last pick.
Yeah.
Tell you this, take him ahead of Will Fuller, who is being
sure.
drafted.
Who's going in the 8th round?
Yeah, that's gross.
6th round.
6?
Will Fuller's going in the 6th round.
And I have some little faith faith in him, but
I have
it's
none.
not 6 rounds.
His targets per game actually fell last year,
Yeah, he was at 5 a game?
503, and it's gonna fall again. 20% spread between catchable and
All right.
caught. So
We've beat on Will Fuller enough. People know we don't like him.
So Kenny Galladay.
Galladay.
You mentioned him.
yeah, Ebron vacated 86 targets. I think we kind of alluded to this earlier, where I think that Galladay gets a lot of that work. Target share rose consistently as the year went on. He was actually 6th in yards per target. Stafford had a 104.2 rating when he was targeting him, good for 15th, and he missed 5 games. His 16-game pace was 70 targets, only 41 receptions, 694 and 4. So if he takes a step up above that, That's not bad.
He's also banged up for most of last year. He also
He was.
outproduced Marvin Jones when he was healthy early season on, which is a big thing to tell. He may be their true new downfield threat, and Stafford loves to push the ball.
I like Godwin more as a late throw.
Yeah,
but
I agree with you.
Galladay's not a bad one either.
All right. Ones I want to call out. First is Kenny Stills. There should be a lot of volume in this offense that has to go somewhere, and it can't all go to Devontae Parker. And Stills has produced last year. He finished as a wide receiver 3 last season. My projections put him out as wide receiver 31. I actually think he was even higher than that. I just brought him down a little bit because I wasn't comfortable with him being in the 20s. But yeah, the volume should be there. I'm starting to hear some Twitter hype for him, so some people are starting to beat that drum too. Stills is a guy definitely to keep an eye on, and I think he is definitely being drafted too late. Any thoughts on that?
I love Stills. I think
Well, you need to fix your rankings then.
I know I do, but I also don't. I hate the Miami offense more so than I hate Stills. I think Stills is a far better value than Parker.
Yeah, Stills is a way better value than Parker, and I think he has a chance to outproduce Parker.
So Stills is going at 1106. But yeah, as I said, I got him as my wide receiver 31. You guys have him at 66 and 53 respectively.
I probably won't own Stills just because there's other guys that we've mentioned in that range that I kind of am higher on. Stills just the name is gross to me, even though the productivity probably isn't going to be.
Yes, I remember last year when I kept pushing Stills as a possible start, and you guys kept giving me crap for it all season.
It's also binding faith to the Miami offense, which I don't want to do.
I have more in it now that Tannehill's quarterbacking them and not Jay Cutler.
That helps, yes. I was stoked when Matt Moore was quarterbacking him last year.
I also want to throw out 2 names that we somewhat mentioned, and that's the Williams. Is like both of them with the Chargers. I know you guys are team Mike. I'm team Tyrell. I'm high on Mike still. I think I have them pretty close together. But I think one of them is going to be very fantasy relevant. If not both of them this year.
It's the loss of Hunter Henry for me is what does it.
Yeah, Tyrell's a guy that's producing this offense. He's produced as the wide receiver 2 in this offense. He has the catch radius and the size to produce in the red zone. He just hasn't had that chance. But Mike Williams is fantastic in the contested catch scenario, which is what he does very, very well, which is what we saw from Clemson. He was just banged up a lot last year. Just where is he right now in terms of, in this offense?
Actually, when I projected it out, I'm actually team Tyrell as well. It's Hopper was the one that caused Tyrell to fall off.
Yeah, I'm team Mike. Easily, I think he's the 2, and Tyrell and Travis Benjamin kind of split whatever's left. So,
and I can see both sides. I've got them pretty close. Dan, you have them extremely close. With four spots.
Yeah, like I think they're going to be. I think it's going to be just any given week, which is going to be tough to own as a fantasy guy, which I have them both lowered because of that. But I think one of them is going to be one of those guys.
All right, and then the 2 I was going to get to before you jumped.
Sorry,
in there.
my bad.
Tyler Lockett, because it's
it's Hopper. Fuck this shit.
It can't all go to Baldwin. There's got it, and Russell Wilson is one of the premier passing options in the NFL.
Nick Vannett.
Oh, I statted Nick Vannett very well too.
I did too, and Darbo.
And even still, Lockett should have enough.
No, it was actually Brandon Marshall that, in all seriousness, it was Brandon. Yes, I statted Nick Vannett well. That was not a not serious comment. Darbo, not quite as well as I might have just alluded to. It was actually Brandon Marshall that I statted in more of the kind of Graham type of role, which is weird to say, but Brandon Marshall, still a big bodied guy, is still going to be a red zone threat. They signed him. I think they still target him as long as he's healthy. So that's kind of where I put it. Tyler Lockett, he's going to give you a couple good weeks. He's going to flash. And when he puts it all together, great if you own him. I'm not calling for that. Nick is, and if it happens, I'm not going to be entirely surprised. He's flashed the ability to do it.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the second guy in targets on that team easily, and I've got him at 94, which with Russell Wilson throwing the ball is going to make him viable.
Who was the other guy?
It's Jed 2.
Yeah, you said 2.
Oh, sorry. The other guy would be Chris Hogan.
Yeah, I'm not on that train at all.
I've faded him hard.
It's a guy that had
I haven't shown in the rankings
50 targets last season.
I'm starting to fade him.
I mean, he missed quite a few games and then was gimped for the other games he was back for. He was on a pace for an awesome season.
I'm more on... you've mentioned it before, Malcolm Mitchell outside.
So
he might not even make the team.
Yeah, the rumor I'm hearing now is he doesn't even make the team.
Right.
Because he's hurt.
I don't know. It's going to be something. That's going to be another situation I watch in training camp. Honestly, hard. I didn't project either one of them necessarily great. I expected Edelman fine when he's back. I projected Matthews to get a bulk of the targets when Edelman was gone. I projected Gronk and James White both pretty well. But I'm going to be watching that a ton in training camp to see who emerges there. And again, even yes, he was banged up last year, but it's a guy. It's like, okay, we're predicting that he's finally going to do it or finally going to be healthy, and tend to steer away from soft tissue injuries that are repeated a bit. So I get where you're coming from, though. I do.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's somebody outside's got to catch the ball, and he's like the only guy left.
If Malcolm makes a team,
isn't Kenny Britt still there?
Yeah, we're not trying that again.
This will be the year that it happens.
Oh my god!
I will be so angry.
Please don't. I don't want to see that.
I don't want to see
All
just
right.
so I can laugh.
All right. Any other names before we wrap up the wide receivers? There's so many of these guys.
Yeah, there's a lot. No, I'm going.
So just a quick thing. If there's any players we did not talk about that you want to hear about, because we didn't want to completely dive down all our rankings,
Send them.
let us know. We'll either respond to you on
tweet at
Twitter.
us.
We might even do an episode where we just go, guys, we didn't talk about, or something like that.
Mop up episode.
Yeah, a mop-up episode.
I like that name.
Due diligence.
Because I'm assuming
we love
like
those.
we briefly touched on Will Fuller, but if you want to hear more about why we're low on him, or just any other player that you guys want to know more about, just hit us up. Let us know. Either comment on YouTube, tweet us at BeerfieldFF, message us on Reddit. A couple people started doing that at BeerfieldFF.
Perfect.
I didn't even know we were on Reddit.
Yeah,
Nick loves Reddit though.
I've been growing a Reddit account for us.
There you go.
Hey.
But yeah, just let us know any players that you want us to talk about.
We talk to each other sometimes.
Occasionally.
We tend to,
I try to
communicate at times.
I try to limit it to the podcast as best I can.
Yeah.
All right. So anything else before you jump on to next week?
Nope.
All right. Well, next week we'll be doing tight ends part 1 for Monday. Wednesday we were still in discussions about what we have to do for, or I should say, we're just doing tight ends Monday. We're not going to do multiple episodes on that. That'd be
Please
pointless.
don't.
Gross.
And then Wednesday will be, we'll just figure something else out for you as we start getting to full redraft season for you guys.
Mock draft.
We don't know what we're doing yet, though.
Could be a mock draft. Could be a My Guys episode. We'll figure it out.
My guys.
My guys. I like
My Guys
my guys.
works.
I like Call Your Shot episodes.
We can get a guest on for that.
Oh, absolutely. I know Nate Hamilton, I think, wants to jump on, so we'll try to get him.
Let's get Nate.
What's up, Nate?
What up, Nate?
All right. But yeah, follow us at BeerfieldFF on Reddit, Instagram, Untapped, and Twitter. Individually, I'm at Nick Sparts. Dan Thury's across the table from me.
Theory BFF.
To my left is Christopher Hopper.
At Hot BFF with 2 P's.
And a hat.
Facebook and YouTube is Beerfield Fantasy Football. Remember to subscribe to YouTube, drop reviews on iTunes, and or donate to Fantasy Cares. Send those to Hop BFF with 2 P's if you want to enter the Redraft Listener League.
Or buy some merch from us. You can send the Nick.
Hit me up if you want to buy some merch at
Just
Beerfield FF.
let them know that you want your entries, though, because if you don't tell them specifically you want your entries,
I'll just assume you want a shirt.
Yeah.
I'm not going to assume anything, so you don't get automatic
We
entries for
don't
just buying.
assume here.
Yeah.
Now, if you're listening to the show and you bought something, you're like, hey, I wanted those entries, hit me up. I'll let Hopper know.
Fuck yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, guys. We'll catch you next time with tight ends. We'll see you next time on Beerfield Fantasy Football.
See ya.